يا دمعة العين يا روحي ونور العين، والله يسرج نور العرش يا والله وخلاي ودنيني والعقل سلبا، والله وخلاي وأمس كانوا معي واليوم رحلوا، والله وخلاي والسويد القلب نيران سرية، القلب نيرانا يا سريا، هل تعودون يا كرام علينا أم قضى يا ذو الجلال أن لا تعودون؟ لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا آل محمد أي منقلب ينقلبون، والعاقبة للمتقين. نسألك اللهم وندعوك باسمك العظيم الأعظم العز الأجل الأكرم يا الله، اللهم لا تدع لنا في مقامنا هذا ذنبا إلا غفرته، ولا هما إلا فرجته، ولا أسوأ إلا صرفته، ولا عيبا إلا سترته، ولا خوفا إلا آمنته، ولا مريضا إلا شفيته وعافيته بحق وليدك البلاء زين العابدين. من على مرضانا بالشفاء العاجل يا الله. اللهم لتعجيل ظهور أموات الحضور سيما اجتمعنا الأجر وسبه المرحوم الدكتور الحاج محمود مصطفى أيوب، اللهم تغمده بواسع رحمتك، عبد بينه وبين محمد وآل محمد، واحشره مع محمد وآل محمد. اللهم لروحه الطاهرة، لروح والديه المرحوم الحاج مصطفى أيوب، والدته المرحوم الحاج بديع رزق، وإلى أرواح من مضى من ذويه وأرحامه، إلى سيما شقيقته المرحومة الحاجة يسرى، وإلى أرواح ذويه ومن مضى من ذويه وأرحامه، لا سيما أمواته وشهداء بلدة عين قانة، أرواح أمواتهم جميعا رحمة الله. من قرأ الفاتحة مشروعا بذكر الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
أحسنتم. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وآل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين، وعلى جميع أنبياء الله الصالحين. أصحاب السماحة والفضيلة، أيها الإخوة المؤمنون والأخوات المؤمنات، السلام عليكم ورحمة من الله وبركاته. نجتمع اليوم لإحياء ذكرى أسبوع المرحوم الدكتور الحاج محمود مصطفى أيوب أبا فراس رحمه الله، حيث وافته المنية الأسبوع الماضي في مدينة مونتريال كندا، بعد أن أمضى فيها السنوات الأخيرة من حياته. ولد البروفيسور أيوب ونشأ في بلدة عين قانة جنوب لبنان عام 1935 بين أحضان أسرة مسلمة كريمة مؤمنة بالعلم وأهميته على صعيد الحياة، حيث اندمجت تربيته اجتماعيا مع الأحداث والناس من الأديان الإسلامية والمسيحية. للفقيد سجل حافل في العلم والعطاء. منذ الطفولة التحق بمدرسة تبشيرية بريطانية للمكفوفين، ثم تلقى تعاليمه في الجامعة الأميركية في بيروت، حاصلا على شهادة بكالوريوس آداب في الفلسفة عام 1964، وبعدها انتقل إلى أمريكا لإكمال ماجستير في الآداب والفقه الديني من جامعة بنسلفانيا عام 1966، وفي عام 1975 حاز على شهادة دكتوراه في تاريخ الدين من جامعة هارفارد. أطروحته للدكتوراه المعاناة التعويضية في الإسلام تحولت إلى كتاب لا يزال قائما حتى يومنا هذا. وخلال حياته المهنية عمل الدكتور أيوب أستاذا ومديرا وباحثا في مختلف الجامعات الأمريكية للدراسات الدينية، نذكر منهم جورج تاون يونيفرسيتي، تمبل يونيفرسيتي in Philadelphia, Pacific School of Religion, Berkeley, San Diego State University, the University of Toronto, McGill University, among others. كما ساعد الدكتور أيوب في تطوير وبدء برنامج الماجستير في الفنون العليا في العلاقات الإسلامية المسيحية والدين المقارن لمركز الدراسات المسيحية الإسلامية في جامعة البلمونت في لبنان. خلال أوائل التسعينات أشرف على مشروع جماعي لترجمة الميزان في تفسير القرآن من العربية إلى الإنجليزية للعلامة الراحل السيد محمد حسين طباطبائي. حصل البروفيسور أيوب طوال حياته الأكاديمية على جوائز ومنح دراسية متميزة سواء لإنجازاته أو لأبحاثه، نذكر منها جائزة الباحث المتميز من المعهد الدولي للفكر الإسلامي، زمالة كنت للدكتوراه، ومنحة فول برايت وزمالة المجلس الكندي. للدكتور أيوب مؤلفات عديدة ومنشورات مختلفة، منها Redemptive Suffering in Islam, The Quran and its Interpreter, 2 volume, Islam, Faiths and History, A Muslim View of Christianity, Essay and Dialogue, The Crisis of Muslim History, Religion and Politics in Early Islam. وبالإضافة إلى ذلك ظهرت مقالاته في كتب ومجلات عديدة في أنحاء العالم، ومن أهم أعماله تأسيس كرسي الإمام علي في الدراسات الشيعية والحوار بين المدارس القانونية الإسلامية، وأحد أهدافها هو تعزيز الحوار بين الأديان في العالم الإسلامي، والذي يقوم على الدراسة والنقاش الأكاديميين. إخوتي أخواتي، أعمارنا قصيرة، فالبسمة الجميلة تبقى وإن غاب صاحبها. رحمك الله أيها الأستاذ العظيم، وأسكنك فسيح جنانه مع الصالحين. من وحي هذه المناسبة نبقى مع سماحة العلامة المجاهد السيد حسن القزويني، فليتفضل مأجورا تصحب الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين. أصحاب السماحة العلماء الأفاضل، الإخوة الكرام، الأخوات الكريمات، أسرة الفقيد الراحل، السلام عليكم جميعا ورحمة الله وبركاته. في هذه الأمسية نجتمع لنؤبن فقيدا غاليا وعالما فاضلا وأستاذا مفكرا، الصديق العزيز المرحوم الدكتور البروفيسور محمود أيوب. بهذه المناسبة الأليمة أتقدم إلى أسرته الكريمة، وخصوصا إلى أقربائه وذويه، وخصوصا من يحضر منهم معنا في هذا المجلس، أخص منهم أخاه وأخانا العزيز الطيب الحاج أبو مصطفى الحاج يوسف أيوب، وكذلك ابن خالته الكريم الأخ العزيز الحاج حمزة عباس، وسائر آل أيوب وآل عباس، وكل من يرتبط بفقيدنا الغالي بصلة القرابة والمعرفة والمصاهرة. تقدم إليهم جميعا بخالص العزاء والمواساة. أسأل الله عز وجل أن يتغمد الفقيد الغالي بواسع رحمته، وأن يسكنه فسيح جنته مع النبي محمد وآله، وأطلب منكم أن نقرأ جميعا سورة المباركة الفاتحة عن روحه الطاهرة. قال الله العظيم في محكم كتابه: بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. إنما يخشى الله من عباده العلماء. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran says, truly it is the scholars who fear God sincerely. Dr. Ayoub, Professor Ayoub, was a prominent figure, not only among Muslims, but I can claim he was a prominent scholar in the Western Hemisphere. Extremely knowledgeable and profoundly humble. I met Dr. Ayoub for the first time in December of 1993. Less than a year after my arrival into the United States. I met with him in a house of a friend in Philadelphia. And at that time, I really didn't know who Dr. Ayoub was. I was asked by the host to deliver a brief speech to a group of people who were attending that session. And obviously, at that time, I wasn't able to speak English fluently. So, after I finished my speech, Dr. Ayoub volunteered to translate my speech from Arabic into English. What strikes me about him is that he was able to translate the whole speech from Arabic to English without taking any note. From heart, he was able to translate the whole lecture from Arabic to English that took over probably 20 minutes without taking one single note. After the event, I got to know Dr. Ayoub. He introduced himself, and I learned that he, at that time, was the head of the Islamic department at Temple University in Philadelphia. Dr. Ayoub graduated from Harvard University in year 1975. His dissertation was about, the theme of his thesis was the redemptive suffering in Shia Islam. A very beautiful book. He wrote about the practices of Shia Muslims during Ashura. And he gave me that book, a copy of that book, as a gift. And I remember reading this book some probably 20 years ago. Dr. Ayoub possessed some unique qualities. One of them is a humility. His humility was truly striking, despite his vast knowledge and his prestigious position as the head of the Islamic Studies Department at one of the most recognized universities in the United States, Temple University. Dr. Ayoub was an immensely humble person, very humble, very respectful, down to earth. I remember being with him in more than one occasion, in numerous occasions, here in Michigan and other places, in Hajj. All I remember about this guy, this person, how humble he was, how nice he was, how respectful and well-mannered Dr. Ayoub was. Another quality that strikes you about this guy is his vast knowledge. Subhanallah, despite his disability due to his blindness, never that disability barred him from pursuing higher education. Despite his disability and his inability for normal reading and writing, Dr. Ayoub was a shining star in being a great scholar who wrote so many books, who gave hundreds and probably thousands of lectures at various universities and colleges in the United States and abroad. And he participated in many Islamic events and lectures. Some of them were held here and locally in Michigan and in other states as well. Dr. Ayoub crowned his achievements by establishing the chair of Imam Ali Islamic Studies at Hartford Seminary. I remember when he was about to establish that department, he contacted me. And he was seeking financial help to be able to establish the very first chair of Imam Ali for Islamic Shia studies in one of the most prestigious seminaries in the United States, Hartford Seminary. And alhamdulillah, his work, his effort yielded a great result that he was able to establish that chair that is still exists up till now and functioning at the seminary. And that event was celebrated by a huge celebration at the seminary, and it was attended by many scholars of Islam at that time. You can say Dr. Ayoub was one of only few handful of Muslim scholars chairing and heading Islamic department at a distinguished university in the United States. He was one of few only. Not many, we don't have many Muslim scholars who had the Islamic department studies anywhere in the United States, not alone in some of the most prestigious universities such as Temple University and Hartford Seminary. Dr. Ayoub was always busy and involved in academic excellence. Never he wasted time. Anytime I see him, I ask him about the latest with him. He would tell me there is a new book he's writing, or there is a new project, academic project he is working on. And I believe on top of that, Dr. Ayoub, though he was an academic figure, he was a true soldier of Islam. A man who always had in mind to introduce Islam to non-Muslims in the best possible way by using his vast knowledge and his deep experience, by reaching out to non-Muslims. And I'm sure thousands of people, whether in the academia or beyond the academia, were touched by the work of Dr. Ayoub, rahmatullahi alayh. I don't want to take much of your time. I know there are other speakers who will be speaking probably, or definitely my dear brother, Sheikh Ilahi, will be speaking after me. All I want to say is Dr. Ayoub's loss is not a personal loss for his family. The Prophet ﷺ says, إِذَا مَاتَ الْعَالِمُ ثُلِمَ فِي الْإِسْلَامِ ثَلْمَةٌ لَا يَسُدُّهَا شَيْءٌ. When a scholar dies, there shall be a big vacuum, a big hole that will never be filled by anything else. And I attest to that. That departure of Dr. Ayoub would definitely would mark a big loss for the entire Muslim community in the United States. And his presence, his academic work, his scientific achievements will live long among us. And he will be remembered through his great work and great academic and scientific achievements. One more time, I would like to offer my sincerest condolences to his family, to his respected brothers and cousins, to the Ayoub family, Abbas family, to all those who knew Dr. Ayoub firsthand and were touched by his humility, kindness, and knowledge. I offer my sincerest condolences to all of you. I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to place our great deceased, Dr. Ayoub, in the highest abode with our Holy Prophet, Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, and his great family. And thus I ask you all to recite Surah Al-Mubarakat Al-Fatiha on his behalf. Al-Fatiha. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
أحسنتم سيدنا، أجركم الله. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. ما الفضل إلا لأهل العلم إنهم على الهدى لمن استهدى أدلاء، وقيمة المرء ما قد كان يحسنه، والجاهلون لأهل العلم أعداء، فقم بعلم لا تطلب به بدلا، فالناس موتى وأهل العلم أحياء. نبقى مع كلمة الإيمان والتقوى مع فضيلة الشيخ المجاهد مؤسس وإمام دار الحكمة الإسلامي الشيخ محمد علي الياهي، فليتفضل مأجورا مصحوبا بالصلاة على محمد وآل محمد.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Thank you, Habibna Hajj Ali Saad wa Sayyidna wa Habibna Samat Sayyid Hassan Qazwini. Beautiful words, Sayyidna. I really thought because of time I had not prepared myself for presentation here, but good points that Samat Sayyid mentioned. Deep knowledge, humbleness, achievement, leadership. These are really good descriptions of dedication and devotion of Dr. Mahmoud Ayoub. I can add also his courage. Dr. Mahmoud was a very courageous man, and he never hesitated to tell the truth. Especially, we are talking about decades ago, 30 years ago, 40 years ago in this country. We didn't have this digital age and explosion of information available to everyone nowadays. There was a time that Dr. Mahmoud was a revolutionary reference for answering the questions, for solving the problems, for defending our faith in an atmosphere of Islamophobia. And as Samad Sayyid said, despite of disability, the life of this man and his loyalty, his love for Ahlul Bayt, and his accomplishments were really miracles. You can call Mahmoud Ayoub a miracle of our time. He went through so many struggles, challenges, personal, family, social, political, intellectual, migration, unbelievable. But despite of all these ups and downs in his life, he stayed calm, he stayed strong, he stayed visionary. He disabled from physical blindness, but a huge and high vision in his heart, in his mind, in his soul. Amazing. So his story is very inspiring, that if Dr. Ayoub could go that far and that high, no excuse for any Muslim family. He didn't have any opportunity. As a matter of fact, it was opposite opportunity. He said that when in Madrasa Tabshiriya that Samad Sayyid mentioned, they tried to, and he was a very young man, to motivate, to force him to leave his religion. But then when he went to Harvard University and he took the interfaith classes and Adyan classes, Subhanallah, كيف الذي يخرج الحي من الميت ويخرج الميت من الحي. This revolution happened in his life, that he became so dedicated to his faith. And then he talked about Ashura and Tafsir and the chair. I was invited in that conference that he invited Dr. Hussein Nasr and Dr. Kadiver and lots of high university academic professors, and that discussion. And even at that time, Islamophobia was bombarding him, and the budget that he asked for that chair was under so much propaganda by Islamophobia. They caused crisis in the demands that he had to establish that chair. But he never gave up. 1993, that I was new in this area, 2 years after my arrival in Dearborn area, that if some of you remember, we had the first Islamic in America conference in Henry Ford Community College facility, and he was our keynote speaker, that everybody was around him and asking me questions, and he was really a knowledgeable reference of answering so many questions. When I heard about his death, like a couple of days before his departure, it came to my mind, where is Dr. Ayoub? And I felt like a vacuum in my heart, that I missed him. And I was saying, what's going on? I know he's retired now, and where is he now? And subhanAllah, as I was thinking to investigate and do some outreach and some communication, as we used to do once a while, sometimes he used to call, and, you know, we had communication. And all of a sudden, I heard this sad news. It hurt my heart. But, you know, subhanallah, تلك الأيام نداولها بين الناس. That was a time for Dr. Ayoub to shine, to lead, to give us direction, to be a man of conferences, deal with all these professors, Christians, Jewish, atheists, and get everybody attention, those big, big global gatherings. And he did his job, and now he prepared the platform for all the rest, the next generation, the youth. When I see like Sayyid Saleh Qazwini, Sayyid Bagher Qazwini, Sayyid Ahmad Qazwini. So alhamdulillah, now we have new stars in our community. And Sayyid Hassan, myself, we are getting close to retirement now. But now we have these new generations, although in Islam there is no retirement, and Dr. Ayoub was working with his mind till the end. Well, let us have Mahmoud Ayoub as a good example for all of us, that someone might suffer from physical disability, but not intellectual, not spiritual. Still, he can be inspiring, like that Dr. Steve Hawking. Remember that this guy was with wheelchair all the time, could not even move his hand, and could not move at all, but he became one of the biggest scientists of this 20th and 21st century, that he passed away a decade ago. And all of this information about astronomy and everything. And this was a guy that really absolutely disabled. So when we have youth in this community, and when they go to drugs and alcohol and stealing, it just really hurt our hearts that you have all this power, all this opportunity, and you waste it. And then you have example like Dr. Ayoub that had no, even vision, and still he achieved that much in his life. Well, Dr. Mahmoud, we are very proud of you. God bless your soul. You told me that you were interested to write about scholars of Shia Islam. You didn't get a chance. There are some writings in these areas, but especially he asked me that if you can continue that, inshallah, if there was an opportunity, some of us, to take that. He was interested to see that there are some documents and writings, good information about our Shia scholars in our histories. That there are, of course, a lot of books in Farsi, in Arabic on that, but he meant it in more like university way, not just stories that for like entertainment thing. No. He was looking for solid information. So condolences to our Habibna Ustad Hajj Yusuf Ayoub, to Ayoub family, Abbas family, Hajj Hamza, the rest of the family. Allah bless his soul, his parents, and bless you all, brothers and sisters, for coming to this holy place to honor his memories, honor his wisdom, honor his courage and knowledge and humility and achievements and legacies. على روحه وأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والشهداء والصديقين. نقرأ سورة الفاتحة بعد الصلوات على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.
أحسنتم شيخنا. صلوا على محمد وآل محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة قالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. صدق الله العظيم. أيها الإخوة والأخوات، لابد لي أن أتوجه إليكم باسم عائلة أيوب، وخاصة أخونا وحبيبنا أبو مصطفى والحاج حمزة عباس وعموم أهالي عين قانا بالشكر والدعاء. الشكر لكم لمشاركتكم ومواساتكم لنا هذا المصاب، والدعاء من الأعماق للمولى بأن يحفظكم وعائلاتكم وبأن لا يفجعكم بعزيز. كذلك نعبر عن شكرنا واحترامنا لأصحاب السماحة والفضيلة على ما أبدوه من اهتمام وجهد وعلى مواساتهم لنا في هذا المصاب. تغمد الله الفقيد بواسع رحمته واسكنه فسيح جنانه، إنه على كل شيء قدير. نختم هذه المناسبة بقراءة الفاتحة لروح الفقيد ولأرواح أموات الحاضرين ولجميع شهداء الإسلام. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.